Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to our Srimad-Bhagavatam class. Just waiting for Maharaj to sign on. Last night, he was in quite a sizable assembly of experienced Vaishnavas. So I'm expecting the same tonight. So that includes generally Kirtan, but haven't seen him yet on our participants list. So I'm just going to wait another moment here. Meanwhile, it's recording and I'll chant something while we're waiting for Maharaj. Expecting him at any moment to show up with a kirtan already in progress. Hare Krishna.
I don't think he'll be showing up with the kirtan in progress, but I was just speaking with him a few minutes ago and it seemed like he was alone.
Oh, okay. Good news. Good news. All right. Thanks. Hare Krishna. The insider report. Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jayadvaita Swami Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Puri Brajakacharya Ashtotara Sata Shri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Nama Acharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mayi Ki Jai. Jamuna Mayi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone for Sri Caitanya Caritamrta class with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. Maharaj is logged on, but he hasn't appeared yet, so I'll continue with our introduction for today's verse, which is Sri Caitanya Caritamrta, Adi-lila, chapter 9, starting tonight with text number 42. And it is Thursday, August 15th, 2024 in New York. And happy to see you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking these verses, including tonight's starting verse. Etavaj janmasa palyam dehinam iha dehishu pranayar artayar dhiya vacha shreya acharanam sada. It is the duty of every living being to perform welfare activities for the benefit of others with his life, wealth, intelligence, and words.
If I can butt in here,
Please.
I think we didn't finish the purport to the previous verse.
Okay.
I see my bookmark is at present for want of Krishna consciousness or God consciousness.
Good. All right, so I'll pick up with that paragraph. So now we're reading, just for those of you tuning in immediately, it's text 41, the middle of the purport. I'll read the verse again to give us a sense of where we are. Bharata bhumite haila manushya janma yar, janma sartaka karikara para upakar. One who has taken his birth as a human being in the land of India, Bharat Varsha, should make his life successful and work for the benefit of all other people. And Prabhupada says, now at present, for want of Krishna consciousness or God consciousness, the entire world is in darkness, having been covered by the four principles of sinful life: meat eating, illicit sex, gambling, and intoxication. Therefore, there is a need for vigorous propaganda to educate people to refrain from sinful activities. This will bring peace and prosperity. The rogues, thieves, and debauchees will naturally decrease in number, and all of human society will be God-conscious. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Reading this paragraph certainly reminds me of Prabhupada's, some of his early statements in his prayers to Lord Krishna aboard the Jaladuta and to people whom he met in his early years of preaching in New York and America and the West, that he was bringing this message of God consciousness, and as he does in this purport, asking people to refrain from these activities, which are the cornerstone of their activities, cornerstone of their life. These are the hallmarks of their sense gratification program in the Western countries, and he's coming to say, no, stop that. There is a need for vigorous propaganda to educate people to refrain from sinful activities. I remember hearing Rabindra Swarup Prabhu mention one of the first times he came to a Hare Krishna temple. Someone was preaching very vigorously on this very point, and he said he noticed a lot of hippies in the audience getting turned off by this message of anti-sense gratification. He said he thought, finally, someone is telling the truth. And so, yeah, so Maharaj, Hare Krishna, I'd love to hear from you here.
I don't think I have something to add here. Let's carry on.
All right. Going on with the purport, the practical effect of our spreading the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world is that now the most degraded debauchees are becoming the most elevated saints. This is only one Indian's humble service to the world. If all Indians had taken to this path, as advised by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, India would have given a unique gift to the world, and thus India would have been glorified. Now, however, India is known as a poverty-stricken country, and whenever anyone from America or another opulent country goes to India, he sees many people lying by the footpaths for whom there are not even provisions for 2 meals a day. There are also institutions collecting money from all parts of the world in the name of welfare activities for poverty-stricken people, but they are spending it for their own sense gratification. Now, on the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Krishna consciousness movement has been started, and people are benefiting from this movement. Therefore, it is now the duty of the leading men of India to consider the importance of this movement and train many Indians to go outside of India to preach this cult. People will accept it. There will be cooperation among the Indian people and among the other people of the world, and the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will then be fulfilled. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will then be glorified all over the world, and people will naturally be happy, peaceful, and prosperous, not only in this life, but also in the next. For, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, anyone who understands Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will very easily get salvation or freedom from the repetition of birth and death and go back home, back to Godhead. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore requests every Indian to become a preacher of his cult to save the world from disastrous confusion. I just had one thought here to share before I turn it over to you, Maharaj, that we were discussing the other day after a similar passage, either a purport or a verse, and discussing how from some quarters of ISKCON, we may hear that the preaching to Westerners has seemed to take a dip, whereas the outreach has been more vigorously successful or aimed towards the Indian diaspora in this country and other places. And that's sometimes been presented as a failing of ISKCON. But when I consider Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's statements here, and Prabhupada's statements here and elsewhere, how it is the people of Bharatvarsha who are enjoined by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the most qualified people to spread the message of Krishna consciousness. It's an extremely good thing. It's an extremely healthy sign that people from Indian backgrounds are becoming interested in Krishna consciousness and becoming very enthusiastic in preaching, because it's a very pious birth. I'm thinking of Krishna's statement in the Bhagavad Gita that one who is free from sinful reactions can rapidly advance in Krishna consciousness and also do good to others. If you're constantly dealing with your own karmic reactions, you don't even have enough hours in the day to go out and preach, what to speak of the energy and conviction with which to do so. But if you have such a pious, cultured background that's full of spiritual knowledge, you're armed with everything required to spread Krishna consciousness everywhere. So it's an extremely good thing for ISKCON that if we're finding an audience among people with such backgrounds. Hare Krishna. You're muted, I think, Maharaj.
Yes. Well, let's finish the purport and then we can.
Power on. Audio mode is connected.
That's some background noise on your side, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
Just switching speakers so that we get a louder speaker. That's our intention. Let's see how it goes.
All right, so to finish our purport here, this is not only the duty of Indians, but the duty of everyone. And we are very happy that American and European boys and girls are seriously cooperating with this movement. One should know definitely that the best welfare activity for all of human society is to awaken man's God consciousness or Krishna consciousness. Therefore, everyone should help this great movement. This is confirmed in Srimad-Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 22nd chapter, verse 35, which is next quoted in the Caitanya Caritamrta.
Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurn Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruvena Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Shapatantika Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharni Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Bhashtiti Deshatani Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada considered this verse from Sri Chaitanya Caritamrta very important. He quoted it often and strongly, that Bharata Bhumite Manusha Janma Hilojar Janma Sarta Kori Kara Parupakar. He would urge Indian people, you must do this. And I think I've mentioned this before, that Prabhupada would speak in Brooklyn, I recall, and elsewhere, but I remember in Brooklyn, there was even like one Indian in the audience. This is back in the days when Indian people were scarcely seen in America. Prabhupada would make this point. He'd speak directly, to a room full of people, but you'd see he'd be targeting the one or two people from India. And it's interesting to think about and to consider. Well, first of all, starting with the point Prabhupada makes, that Bharata Bhumite Manusha Janma, not Pashu Janma. Anyone who's gotten a human birth, Bharata Bhumite, in Bharatvarsha, in India. Bharata Bhumite Manusha Janmo Helojai. Janma Sarta Kori. He should make his life successful. That means Krishna conscious, not material success. That's his duty. He's taken, why have you gotten this human life? It's for success in the real mission of human life, to get Mukta Sangha Paramvrite, to get free from material existence and go back to Godhead. That's the mission of human life, and particularly human life in human birth in India. Otherwise, what's the use? Why, just like Prabhupada used to say to us, and he wanted something big done, and if we didn't do it, he'd say, or to goad us on, he'd say, otherwise, what is the use of your being American? The Americans are supposed to do something. Even different countries are known for different things. Germany, they're known for their especially expertise in machines and science and so many things. Italy, they're known for artistic ability, and of course every country has everything.
Yeah.
But different countries stand out for different particular characteristics. And India, their special characteristic is that Dharmic Kshetra, the Punya Bhumi, it's a place for spiritual cultivation, and people from all over the world still go to India looking for something spiritual. Now, of course, everything what Prabhupada was talking about in the context of the time he was writing has changed. It's no longer that India is known as a poverty-stricken country and all of that. Now, India is known as the supply source for unlimited IT professionals. And it's known even now as this kind of almost approaching superpower status. They're in space. They have atomic weapons. They have huge airports and so many material facilities. But that's not the real mission of India. What can we say? That's just not the business. Not that our life becomes successful because we have great industries and high-paying jobs. That doesn't make India glorious. There are already so many countries doing that. The real thing is Janma Sarta Koriya, Kara Parupakar, to make life successful in Krishna consciousness and spread Krishna consciousness to the world. Now that brings us to the present situation in which Indians are all over the world. Now, like I grew up in New Jersey, I think I didn't see a single Indian the whole time I grew up in New Jersey. And now, everywhere. So, one could look at it and say, why is this? And we could suggest that it's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's arrangement, or it's Krishna's arrangement, that people from India are now distributed all over the world, not only distributed, but distributed with wealth, with respect, with education, with leadership. Tick off the top 5 companies in the tech index. They're probably all headed up by Indians, or if not, then certainly powered by Indians. And so many other industries and so many other enterprises where Indian people are out ahead. Silicon Valley is like chock-a-block with Indian people, and capable Indian people. So there you have, Indians have money, Indians have prestige, Indians have education, Indians have everything. So now, with those assets, so we can take it as Krishna's arrangement, that Krishna has, put Indians all over the world. Now all they have to do is pick up the real thing. Otherwise it's a waste. What's the use of being Indian, coming to America, and Prabhupada said, being a new crow? The old crows, you take your meal, and then traditionally on leaf plates, then you throw the plates, and the crows come, and they have their portion. So they're the old crows, and then after they've come, maybe some new crows come, and they pick at what's already been picked at. So Prabhupada took it that the Indians who are just following the American idea of sense gratification and trying to get their share are the new crows. Instead of being swans, they're the new crows. We've already picked at it, and now Indians will come to America and they'll pick at the same thing. Puna punash charvata charvanana, chewing the chewed again and again. Now that's not, and then they lose their culture and become useless. Indians without Indian culture, they're like, what would you say? Like a
Ship
show
without a
bottle.
rudder? A ship without a rudder?
No, I was thinking like a laptop without a processor. There's no substance there. And that's the tendency. America's very powerful in socializing the world and bringing it to the American standard. You go to Japan and everyone's dressed in, jeans and caps turned backwards on their heads, Japanese culture. So if the Indians come from India and simply become reduced to American standard, then the Manusha Janma Paya Radha Krishna Nabhaji. Without Krishna consciousness, then their life becomes a failure. But if they take up Krishna consciousness seriously, then their life becomes wonderful. Now we have, everything and Krishna consciousness, and they can act very powerfully for spreading Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada started with, catchers catch can, with whatever he could pick up, whoever volunteered. Prabhupada, all right. Like in the old Western films, old cowboy films, the desperados, the criminals would be terrorizing the local county. And there's only one poor sheriff, has to deal with all these guys. So he calls the men in the community together and says, "I'm pinning a badge on you. Now you're deputized. We're going to go out and get those guys," and so on. So they're not law enforcement professionals, but they get deputized because the mission is so important. There's an immediate need, and so they're called into service. So Prabhupada pressed us into service. Krishna sent him whatever he sent, and he used us. Despite our bad samskars, despite our, whatever, very fallen condition, Prabhupada, what did he say? The most sinful people. And he worked wonders with what Krishna sent him. But imagine if you start with good stuff to begin with, if you start with people who have good samskars, good background, culture, some spiritual knowledge, everything. And that too with respectable position, education, capability, intelligence, what they can accomplish to spread Krishna consciousness. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, it's your duty. It's my order. Do this. It's a duty. So, sort of reflecting on what the Kendra Prabhu said, somehow or other, now our Krishna consciousness movement has so many Indian people who are coming, and out of them, of course, everyone will benefit. People who might otherwise lose their culture, very happy to find that they can come to the temple and the deities are there, and kirtan is there, pravachan is there, so many things are there, and maybe they're satisfied with that. We come on the Sunday, we get the darshan, and so on. Well, good, something. That will be wonderful. But the real benefit is when they take it seriously and make their life successful, and especially when they think, now I should do something for others. When they pick up Prabhupada's spirit, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spirit, let's do something. And especially that opportunity is there for the younger Indian people. Many of the older Indian people, they come, they take darshan, they're happy. And good. But the younger Indian people are, in one sense, in a more advantageous position. They have a foot in both worlds, the American world or European world and the Indian world. They can move comfortably in both circles. They have the benefit of the Indian background, and they're comfortable communicating with their Western peers. So they know the pulse, they know the culture, they know both things. And they can go either way. They can be overwhelmed by the Western side and have both feet in that world, materialistic life, video games, and less innocent things. Or they can take it very seriously and be like Prahlad Maharaj, just change their whole environment. Of course, not every child will be like Prahlad Maharaj. He's still following in the footsteps. How much they can do. Prabhupada said, I'm just one Indian, and see by my humble efforts, I'll just see. And so imagine if there are hundreds, now thousands, hundreds of thousands of Indians who take the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to heart and try to do something for the true welfare of human society. We can see enormous possibilities. We don't know how it's going to unfold. We didn't expect that when we started that so many Indian people would come to America and Europe, that so many things would happen like that. So that's already surprising. But what may happen in the future, we don't know. But the possibilities are on both sides, just to become degraded and useless and of the same status of the American people who were overwhelmed by passion and ignorance. The next after 1 or 2, 3 generations of exposure to or absorption in American culture, the Indian people can become like that, or they can become the true leaders that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking them to be.
Yeah, it was kind of like reflecting how ISKCON has changed drastically from a communal living in the temples, and now it's a congregational society, and with the majority of the congregation being Indian. And I think it's a challenge to the Indians to preach Krishna consciousness, share Krishna consciousness to the Westerners, because that's lacking. They preach amongst their own race generally.
It's easy
It's easy, yeah.
for Indians to they have a little botchit with other Indians, and pretty soon they're coming and they become regular members and supporters. So it's easy, and it's wonderful.
It's not.
It's wonderful, but that's not the global vision. Just like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, so his disciples were mostly Bengali, but he sent them here, there, to Europe, even to South India. It wasn't just to find out where the other Bengalis were. Although they're naturally the first ones to take interest. Oh, other Bengalis have come, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, something, Kirtan. So they'll naturally take interest. But that wasn't Saraswati Thakur's mission, just to find the Bengalis all over India or all over the world.
Like Singapore.
But that those Bengalis, especially if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if every Indian has a responsibility to spread mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then what to speak of the Bengalis? Certainly they should be doing this. But it wasn't just, and it's fun, you start, that's all right, you start with the Bengalis or you start with other Indians, that's wonderful. And the more the better. But then what are we going to do after that? What comes next? What's the program for paropakar, for making still others fortunate?
I see the success of like the Bhakti Vriksha program is when the Westerners are also part of these different sanghas, you know. So,
Well, I have my own thoughts about that, but I don't want to burden the Caitanya Caritamrta class with my own ideas about, preaching strategies and so on. But I think the core message is there that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu particularly emphasized, and Prabhupada, or perhaps for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu it wasn't, but either way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said it, everything he said is important, and Prabhupada really took this point and amplified it, even after coming to the West and doing something, then he again focused on India. Why? That was the country he left and so on. But Prabhupada wanted to do something. He said, I've done what my Guru Maharaj sent me to the West. I've done that, now I want to do something else. So he had that vision, some special, what would you say? He saw a special importance of India's becoming Krishna conscious. They're following the Westerners, all right, let them follow these Westerners. But so now the opportunity is there to push it forward. And those who do it will get great credit for having done it.
I
Yes.
think it's role reversal, because how did the movement spread in India is because Prabhupada brought his dancing white elephants. So it's like a reversal kind of now, the Westerners influencing Indians to take up their own culture and spirituality, and now it's kind of like the other way around.
Now, if the
seems like
Indians
that.
take it and push it to the
Yeah.
Westerners,
Yeah,
it will have great influence.
especially those who have a foot in both. I was discussing this with Caitanya Caritamrta when he came, how his preaching had changed, because I've been listening to him for years, and how he has changed and how he has, and he said it was very astute observation. I said, yeah, all I have to do is listen to your old lectures and question answer sessions and see you now preaching on different forums and how you answer. It's really broadened his horizons to be traveling all over the world to see how people from all walks of life, all nationalities take to Krishna consciousness. So it broadens your vision. And I said the best preacher from India is someone who has a foot, like exactly what you're saying, someone who has a foot in both and can navigate both. You know, be able to reach the Westerners and at the same time be able to reach the Indians, so you're not stuck. And I see, like what you're saying, the younger generation, they're in that position. Because if they get the samskaras from their parents who are Krishna conscious, whether they were born in the movement or not, doesn't matter, but who have taken or are influenced by their parents, but at the same time they see the fallacies of the American culture, they're in the best position to kind of navigate.
Just there, Prabhupada in America, when he would preach to the Westerns, don't lose your culture. So if the young boys and girls, Indian, keep their culture and especially cultivate this spiritual understanding, then they'll be powerful for giving it to others. Otherwise, somebody else will have to do it. Any thoughts, Prabhuji? I have 2 or 3 or 4 Indians here, so they have priority. You know, I'm sitting here.
I think you're coming for the first time.
You've been to the temple earlier, but the satsang first.
Oh, good, thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mama.
Can I share just a small anecdote that I think would be interesting in this topic? That when I was living in Los Angeles and I started, I finished working at the BBT and I had a job and when I was first doing it, it was like I was worried, you know, like how am I gonna get any sadhana in? You know, I have to get up and early and get ready for a day away, and I was thinking like that, and I look out my window, and in the apartment we moved to the next block, and I saw the apartment next to me. There's this Indian. I could see through the window, and he's doing puja, and it's like still dark outside, you know, and it was just like, well, they do it, you know. I guess I can do it too. Because it's such part of their culture.
I was staying in, where is that? Krishna district in Andhra Pradesh.
Yeah.
I had some work there with the local, because it's the district headquarters, so we had some local work there. I was staying in one hotel overlooking a main street. So who's the first person on the street in the morning?
Sweep.
Hmm?
Sweeper.
No,
Okay.
no. Chaiwala. He is the first. Unless he's there, nothing else can go on.
Nothing can move.
So the Chaiwala is the first man on the street, and what does he do? He sets up his little, thing and does puja.
Yeah.
It must
So
have been a while back. I don't think Chaiwalas do that now.
No,
do they?
everyone do.
Yes,
Every
yes.
I got a
All
gas
the small
station.
stores.
Every business.
Gas
can do
station.
that.
But
Even
in
to
the
have-
morning,
Yeah.
go to the store first, you light the incense, do the little, maybe 3-minute puja, not a long one,
yeah, not a big thing,
Yeah.
but we do it every day.
Yeah,
but because this is the
It's
culture
even
is so
today.
strong.
Every business.
Yes.
The small or big
Smell,
doesn't matter.
somewhere back in the office,
Yeah.
you got an idol of a god you believe in,
Yeah.
couple of other things, Ganpati for the most part.
Yeah.
Any auspicious thing you start with the Ganpati.
every single day, if I have to go early for college or any of the work, as soon as I wake up, I just go to my small temple in my house and I just look at God first. And then before going, I do my puja, everything, and then I go out.
Yeah, this is the culture.
Irrespective of whatever time it is.
Yeah.
I take out that 15 minutes for that thing.
Yeah. See how wonderful it is that this culture is like that. That first thing there has to be some puja, then we begin the business. But first thing is spiritual consciousness, religious consciousness. So it's already there. It's such an asset, such an asset. And then if that's amplified, if that's strengthened, then how first of all wonderful for our own life, and then how much we can do for others. That nobody has anything really to offer here. Work and money and prosperity and Amazon.com, order whatever you want, you get it the next morning, and video games and blah 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 blah. But spiritually they're deficient. The religion, of course, America, many people are still religious once you get out of New York City and so on. In the country, particularly, people still have some religious sentiment, but they don't have much religious knowledge. They have some sentiment. That also is their asset. That also can be, save them from the greatest danger. But they're lacking in spiritual knowledge and basic spiritual understanding, because they have religious sentiment at the same time. Meat eating, intoxication, these things are going on, illicit sex, and gambling. Even I passed a church with Srila Prabhupada. We were walking near 26 Second Avenue in New York, and this was like 1968. We were walking by a church that was one block over. They had a big sign, bingo. Prabhupada said, what is this bango? I said, well, Srila Prabhupada, it's a kind of gambling. I don't know much about bingo, but that's what I understand. Prabhupada said they allow. I said, Prabhupada, they encourage. I think they make some money. They encourage. Prabhupada just shook his head. Gambling, intoxication, meat eating. But they don't even know that it's sinful. Dharmam iti what is that? Tamasavrita. They don't even know that it's sinful. So they require education. They require knowledge, spiritual knowledge. The interest is there. So much interest is there, but either they're getting just nothing, or they're getting some false idea, matter is everything, material life is everything, this one life is everything. They just don't know, they're in ignorance. So Krishna is giving spiritual knowledge, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad-Bhagavatam, so much is there. So it needs to be spread. It needs to be spread. And that can give the greatest. And people think welfare work means we feed the poor, we help an orphanage, we help the victims of natural disasters. But really the whole world is a disaster. It's called Samsara Davanala, the forest fire of samsara, forest fire of birth and death. Everyone is, that's the real problem. The real problem is not the smaller issues, but everyone has to keep going through birth and death, birth and death, birth and death, and suffering. But that problem can be solved when people understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. Jatvadeha punarjanma naiti bhavati janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvata. People simply understand Krishna as he is. They can get freed. Jatvedeham punarjanma. The time of death, naiti, not come back. Mamiti, go back to Godhead, back to Krishna. That's the real welfare work. Other things are small time. Small time. That's not the real welfare work. Even that welfare work is sometimes harmful. We don't have the time to discuss that at any rate. But this is the greatest welfare work. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will, maybe we'll just give a peek of the next verse, because I don't think we have, we must have a fairly long purport. Yeah, it does. But just to give a peek of the next verse. This is Bhagavatam. Etavaj janma sapalyam dehinam iha dehishu pranayar artayar diya vacha shreya acharanam sada. It is the duty of every living being to perform welfare activities for the benefit of others with his life, wealth, intelligence, and words. This becomes the subject for our next Thursday's meeting, next verse. But it's very comprehensive and practical also. Give your life for the service of Krishna. Probably we've already had so many lifetimes for sense gratification. Now in so many species of life. Now this one life. Just give this one life for the service of Krishna. Pranayar. Then someone says, well, I'm not prepared to give my life. One reason or another reason. All right, artai. Give your money. That's also wanted. Money should not be wasted for needless necessities. All right, use your money for the service of Krishna. Even people who want to do philanthropic work, they may not be able to drop everything and go out into the field and distribute food or give medical aid. So then they give their money because someone else will do it, but I'll sponsor it. So pranayar, all right, I can't give my life. Artai, let me give my money. No, I'm sorry, I'm one of those very few Indians who don't have any money. All right, diya, give your intelligence. One doesn't have to have money. That's not our purpose, just to gather money. Even if you gather money, then you have to use the money with intelligence. Otherwise you lose your money and you lose everything. So, all right, money is not the only thing. Use your intelligence. Think and think how to spread Krishna consciousness. Devise so many different ways. How to distribute this message of Bhagavad Gita. Someone says, well, I'm not very sophisticated in my intelligence. All right, vacha, use your words. Even if you don't have a lot to say, just repeat. You don't have to be brilliant. Sometimes our senior devotees, after a class, everyone says, oh, that was such a nice class. What did we do? We just repeated what we heard. Srila Prabhupada gave us a message, we repeated, everybody said, wow. You're some young person or new person, you just tell him the basic things, and he's like amazed, because he's never heard such a thing in his life. So we can use our words, our intelligence, or use them all. Your life, your money, your words, your intelligence, or 1, 2, 3. So these are some thoughts. Oh my goodness, I just talked on, and there's things in the chat box. And now I remember we were going to, oh, well, no, that's tomorrow. Things from the chat box of yesterday. Should we take a quick peek and see what's there?
I can read, Maharaj. Panchatattva Prabhu says, if we are preaching to an easier audience, the Indian diaspora, due to a desire to simply maintain our temples in a comfortable manner, then we may not be entirely fulfilling the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as taught to us by Srila Prabhupada. Not saying it always happens, but the temptation is there.
Yeah. We can all think that just if Mr. Patel gives us some regular donation, we're happy. And then we don't think beyond that, what about his spiritual life? What about expanding Krishna consciousness to others? No, we're getting money, the institution is being maintained, we're happy. That's pretty dull. Pretty dull. So the possibility is there to become dull. Or the possibility is there to become alive.
Next, Saraswati Mata says, Pranamas Param Puji Maharaj. May I ask why, if Indian people were mostly pious, did the country become poverty-stricken? Nowadays, even pious Indian people seem to obsess over wealth, societal status, etc., and are reluctant to give Krishna consciousness priority, so they're procrastinating. Also, she says, I'm trying to recall something I read about comparing Indians as lame and Western countries as blind, teaming up for spreading Krishna consciousness, but don't remember the message exactly.
Yeah, Prabhupada took that, what is that? Andapangu Nyai, the blind man and the lame man. So when Prabhupada was writing, India was the lame man. No, not much in terms of material prosperity. America had everything. And India was, like begging, please give us this, please give us that. So India was the lame man. And America was the blind man. We had all this great stuff, all this advancement, material advancement, but no spiritual knowledge. So the logic is that on his own, the blind man can't get anywhere because he can't see where he's going. And the lame man can't go anywhere because he's lame. He can't move around very easily. But if the lame man gets on the blind man, if the blind man walks and the lame man gives the vision, then together they'll move. So in this way, Prabhupada was urging cooperation, that, all right, you take your American money, your American gadgets, your American everything, and Indian spiritual knowledge, and you can do wonderful things. That was his propaganda. As for how India became poverty-stricken, and of course there's some mundane explanations, actually very good mundane explanations, but this isn't the place for that. But somehow or other, Prabhupada also sometimes attributed to their neglect of spiritual culture, but one way or another, India. But there's an expression in America: you can't keep a good man down. So India's come up, but they can come up and be useless if there's no Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada gave that example: 0 and then 2 zeros and 3 zeros. It's all still 0. But you add the 1, you get so much value out of all those zeros. The more the better. So again, it all comes to this point of combining material prosperity with spiritual vision. Without spiritual vision, like the body, without vision, without the head, the body is going to be useless. But if there's vision, what we can accomplish if we just have vision. So those who are spiritually trained, those who are spiritually fortunate, are meant to give the vision for the whole world. The world, nashta drishamesha, puranarko denodita. Since Krishna has left this world, then along with Krishna's departure, it seems as if Dharma is also gone, Jnana is also dwindling. But in the form of this message of Srimad-Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita as it is, it's like a sun that rises and destroys the darkness of Kali Yuga. Puranarka Vinodita. We have reached our time limit. I'm conscious of that. Shall we have some kirtan from this side? We have lots of kirtan people, I think. Are you volunteering again? Okay. Let's do without the harmonium. I'm tired of harmoniums. Everyone always has to have a harmonium. Kartals Vidanga. Let's do that. Yeah. Go for it.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Srimad Purnamamsapari Prajati Sharja Stotra Shri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Raj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai, Nama Acharya Sridhar Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Koho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Vedadhar Shri Vashadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Jamana Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Maharaj, and thank you, Keshava Gopal Prabhu, for the kirtan, and thank you everyone for being here for Sri Caitanya Caritamrta class with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami and friends. Sri Caitanya Caritamrta ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj ki jai.
Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande.
Thank you, Gurudev.
Thank you, Panchatattva Prabhu. Thank you to all.